To maintain a high constant body temperature is energy expensive. Mammals therefore need a nutritious and plentiful diet. While the earliest mammals were probably predators, different species have since adapted to meet their dietary requirements in a variety of ways. Some eat other animals. This is a carnivorous diet, and includes insectivorous diets. Other mammals, called herbivores, eat plants, which contain complex carbohydrates such as cellulose. An herbivorous diet includes subtypes such as granivory, seed-eating, folivory, leaf-eating, frugivory, fruit-eating, nectarivory, nectar-eating, gumivory, gum-eating, and mycophagy, fungus-eating. The digestive tract of an herbivore is host to bacteria that ferment these complex substances and make them available for digestion, which are either housed in the multi-chambered stomach or in a large cecum. Some mammals are coprophagous, consuming feces to absorb the nutrients not digested when the food was first ingested. U200 are 131 to 137. U200 are an omnivore, eats both prey and plants. Carnivorous mammals have a simple digestive tract because the proteins, lipids and minerals found in meat require little in the way of specialized digestion. Exceptions to this include baleen whales, who also house gut flora in a multi-chambered stomach. Like terrestrial herbivores, the size of an animal is also a factor in determining diet type. Allen's rule: since small mammals have a high ratio of heat-losing surface area to heat-generating volume, they tend to have high energy requirements and a high metabolic rate. Mammals that weigh less than about 18 ounces, 510 grams, 1 pound, are mostly insectivorous because they cannot tolerate the slow, complex digestive process of an herbivore. Larger animals, on the other hand, generate more heat and less of this heat is lost. They can therefore tolerate either a slower collection process, carnivores that feed on larger vertebrates, or a slower digestive process, herbivores. Furthermore, mammals that weigh more than 18 ounces, 510 grams, 1 pound, usually cannot collect enough insects during their waking hours to sustain themselves. The only large insectivorous mammals are those that feed on huge colonies of insects, ants or termites. Quote, "Some mammals are omnivores and display varying degrees of carnivory and herbivory, generally leaning in favor of one more than the other. Since plants and meat are digested differently, there is a preference for one over the other, as in bears, where some species may be mostly carnivorous and others mostly herbivorous. They are grouped into three categories: mesocarnivory, 50 to 70% meat; hypercarnivory, 70% and greater of meat; and hypercarnivory, 50% or less of meat. The dentition of hypercarnivores consists of dull, triangular carnassial teeth meant for grinding food. Hypercarnivores, however, have conical teeth and sharp carnassials meant for slashing, and in some cases strong jaws for bone crushing, as in the case of hyenas, allowing them to consume bones. Some extinct groups, notably the Machaerodontidae, had saber-shaped canines. Some physiological carnivores consume plant matter and some physiological herbivores consume meat. From a behavioral aspect, this would make them omnivores. But from the physiological standpoint, this may be due to zoopharmacognosy. Physiologically, animals must be able to obtain both energy and nutrients from plant and animal materials to be considered omnivorous. Thus, such animals are still able to be classified as carnivores and herbivores when they are just obtaining nutrients from materials originating from sources that do not seemingly complement their classification. For example, it is well documented that some ungulates such as giraffes, camels, and cattle will gnaw on bones to consume particular minerals and nutrients. Also, cats, which are generally regarded as obligate carnivores, occasionally eat grass to regurgitate indigestible material, such as hairballs, aid with hemoglobin production, and as a laxative. Many mammals, in the absence of sufficient food requirements in an environment, suppress their metabolism and conserve energy in a process known as hibernation. In the period preceding hibernation, larger mammals, such as bears, become polyphagic to increase fat stores, whereas smaller mammals prefer to collect and stash food. The slowing of the metabolism is accompanied by a decreased heart and respiratory rate, as well as a drop in internal temperatures, which can be around ambient temperature in some cases. For example, the internal temperatures of hibernating Arctic ground squirrels can drop to -2.9 degrees Celsius (26.8 degrees Fahrenheit). However, the head and neck always stay above 0 degrees Celsius (32 degrees Fahrenheit). A few mammals in hot environments aestivate in times of drought or extreme heat. For example, the fat-tailed dwarf lemur, Caerogoleus medius,